Alright guys, here I'm reviewing a new movie, The Birth of a Nation, directed by Nate Parker, who I've only seen before in The Great Debaters, so I didn't really know how this was going to turn out. Overall, I really did like this movie. The technical aspects, the directing, the acting, the cinematography, they were all great. You know, Nate Parker stands out obviously as the main guy, Nat Turner. The cinematography was good too with the blue pellets that they use, and also the the fire as the orange kind of contrast of the two. I really thought they were used really well, and the directing was pretty good too. Nothing really outstanding, but it was all pretty good in my eyes and estimation. But for me, what trumped this movie was the story. I thought the story was way over the technical aspects, and I really felt that was what was emphasized in this movie. I think Nate Parker is a good director, but I just felt that the story was just really, the meat of this as it should be. Basically, it's about this guy, Nat Turner, who, as a kid, he can read. This is, taking place in slavery, and it's based on a true story. But he can read, which, is a big thing. And, he's told at a young age, he's going to be something great. And so, he becomes a preacher and all, and you see him going from plantation to plantation, giving these sermons about how, the slaves should obey their master and all that stuff. And so you see that even though he has this privilege, somewhat he's really conflicted about what he's saying versus how he feels and what he's seeing. So I really thought that Nate Parker did a phenomenal job of showing the conflict that Nat Turner would have at being a preacher, talking about God, has saying to people to obey their masters and do right by them and all that stuff. But meantime, you've seen people getting hanged and all that stuff. So I really thought that Nate Parker really portrayed that type of character well. There are some gruesome moments as expected in a movie about slavery. This one scene, I'm not going to spoil it, but all I'm going to say is the guy did not want to eat, and there was a hammer involved, and I've never seen that before. I don't even think I've seen that type of thing in a horror movie. I mean, this stuff is just out of control, what they were doing to the slaves, and I really felt that the gruesome scenes, though they are there, here and there, I really did feel that they had an impact just as much as any other slave movie. Definitely see this movie, in my opinion, definitely sparked some discussion. I really think it comes out at the right time with the right message, especially what's going on with the world with police brutality, Oscar so white, things of that nature. So I really did feel like this is the perfect movie for this time. As far as the Nate Parker allegations go, I know he was acquitted, I believe, of what happened in his past, and I believe everybody deserves a second chance, right or wrong with what they did. Nobody's perfect, so maybe he learned from his mistakes. If that whole situation did occur and everything, maybe he did learn from his mistakes and should be given a second chance. Honestly, I first heard about this movie in January at the film festival of Sundance, and I believe like a few months later the allegations came out. So I don't know if this was a way to deter his whole campaign, because he was getting Oscar buzz back then. So I don't know if this was, like I said, a way for people to deter his whole campaign. It kind of came out around the same time afterwards, so it's kind of ironic. But as said before, I think given a second chance, he's not the same person he was a few years ago. As people, I'm not the same person I was a few years ago. People change, they adapt, and they grow. So give him a second chance. He's obviously taking, if that whole situation did occur, obviously he's taking that situation and putting it to positivity for other people in order for that, so that they don't make the same mistakes and all, because they definitely touch on the subject matter here a little bit in this situation. So we'll give him a second chance. For what category? Maybe just best director. I would say maybe cinematography, but probably more so best director. And I definitely hope Nate Parker at least gets a nomination for something, whether it's acting or director, just because, like I said, this was a great movie that came out at a good time at the right moment. Overall, I really like how this movie was portrayed. Definitely want to do some research afterwards. I knew the story of Nat Turner beforehand, but movies like these, they make you want to read the books and the things that transpired around that time with this situation. So I really did think they did a good job of portraying Nat Turner, how you see him as a conflicted guy, and how this privilege that he has of preaching and all, being able to read. Through that, he sees the negativity that's transpired within the slavery based on what he's doing, and how he has to do something about it. He doesn't have to do what he does, but he does because he knows it's right for the future of mankind. And you know, maybe if it wasn't for Nat Turner, there wasn't going to be a civil war or so. So you know, definitely, I would say check this movie out if you're a fan of these type of movies. And usually, I'm the type of person where you know I'm tired of seeing the slave movies, just because you know I want like another story about black people and all this other stuff. But at the same time, when you see a powerful movie like this, you definitely realize why you know they keep making these movies and why it's necessary to see them, just so that we can you know be reminded of where we come from in our past in order to make the future better for other people. So with that being said, I'm giving this movie an A minus. I'm giving it a 4.2 out of 5. The technical aspects were great, you know, the acting, the directing, cinematography, and all that. Even the sound design in some scenes, scene with a cannon, you know, the sound design was pretty good. But overall, I thought the story trumped everything, and the message of what this director, Nate Parker, is trying to do. I really felt that he got it over with everybody, and I want to see this movie be very successful. I don't know if I would watch it again, so maybe that's why my rating's a little bit lower, but it's more so based on story. And thank you again. So, have you seen Birth of a Nation? If you have, comment below, and I want to know your thoughts. Did you like this movie? Did you know about Nat Turner beforehand? What do you think of Nate Parker using the title Birth of a Nation based on a movie that you know came out in the early 1900s that kind of was a negative thing for you know black people? How do you feel about him twisting that title and giving it a new meaning? You want to hit the like button for this video. You want to hit the subscribe button for this channel, and you want to join the